Welcome. Thanks for joining us, guys. I am Eric Gray, Director of Ministry at RockFish Church, and this is the Ministry Corner. In this series, we're going to be talking to two of our ministry leaders, Rebecca Overstreet and Katie Ray, about their experiences, their advice moving forward, and everything homeschool. So if you're interested, if you want to know more about homeschooling your kids, or if you want tips, this is the place for you. Let's get right into it, guys. All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back for session number 4, where I've got Katie and Becca for one more talk. We're going to discuss the highs and lows, the successes and failures that they've experienced or witnessed in homeschooling. So let's get started with the low stuff so we finish on a high note. So who wants to go first with the big struggles or the biggest struggles or even what we would call failures in the homeschool process?
Oh, gosh. Our whole first year of homeschooling.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, the first year was, I said it before, it's the hardest. It will be the hardest because you're adjusting. Your kids are adjusting. You're learning their different learning styles, right? Mm-hmm. I thought I knew how my kids learned. I was wrong, right? I thought some of these kids are going to sit here at a desk and they're going to do their work quietly. They're going to get it done. Yeah, I was wrong. Okay. My middle son, who is amazing at math, was crying his eyes out. And I'm sitting here going, but this is exactly what you did when you were in school. What's the problem? And he's like, I don't like this. This is terrible. This is too much. Mm-hmm. And he's crying. And I looked at that workbook and I threw it out in the trash. And I said, we're done with this. Yeah. Which is when we found teaching textbooks shortly after. It was recommended by a friend. And then he was like, oh, I do like math. You're right. I'm like, yeah, because that didn't work for you. Yeah. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of ups and downs. And I feel like adjusting and finding the right curriculum is a big part of that. Because my oldest, it's the same thing. We did science with Rebecca, and he was like, this is terrible, Mom. I don't like this. And I was like, just do it. Mm-hmm. Just do it.
We already paid for it.
Right. Like, we paid for this. Yeah. And then I felt like this is just not what this is supposed to be. Yeah. Right. He's miserable. I'm fussing. This is not, we're not getting closer as a family, right? This is pulling us apart. Mm-hmm. And really just having to adjust to that has been it's been a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because we have to learn how they learn, which sounds so strange, right? So, you have to learn how they learn. Yeah.
So when you encounter the struggles early on, are you having to deal with feelings of failure?
Absolutely.
Feelings of fear, like, oh my, I don't like, if we fail at this, we don't have another good option. Like, so absolutely. So how long did you kind of sit in that season of this is now, was it an afternoon? Was that enough? Or was it like 3 weeks, 4 months? Like, this is not working and we're going to fail and we're going to fall apart.
And I think it changes because you can have a bad moment and just say, this is so hard. I can't get through this. I'm not doing the right thing. I didn't choose the right thing. I'm failing my family. And then within a few hours, you see one of your kids click. Something clicks in them and you're like, I am doing the right thing. And then another hour after that, you're feeling like a failure again. And you will bounce back and forth between that because they're not going to click on everything right away. Yeah. Or they may click something a month later and you go, finally, like you do get it, right? So you're going to go on this emotional roller coaster. I still feel like there's days that I'm failing because I'm like, how do we not understand this yet? But part of that is just me and my expectations, right? And not focusing on my kids and how they learn, and that sometimes it takes a little bit longer for certain things.
So I think you brought up some really good points here, though. So one, you said one of the best tools for you was finding the right curriculum, right? So learning the kids' learning style and be able to foster, right? So with that, I think that's very important for every parent to understand that they want to get on this train, right? You're going to have to figure out what works for each kid. That's not just a saying we have, like there's reality to that, right? Yeah. But also with that, something we're 4 episodes in and we didn't talk about this once yet is prayer. right?
Yes.
How often, moms, teachers, do you find yourself having to revert to prayer for the confidence, for the faith to move forward, to we did make the right decision, and we are going to succeed, and this is what I think we said in the first episode, this is what you were created for, right?
Yes.
This is why you've been given these children, to raise them, to teach them, to love them. How often do you find yourselves having to go to for out of necessity, but for benefit in prayer to do this well?
Multiple times a day.
Multiple times a day.
Multiple times a
Okay.
day.
We
Right.
try to start our day off with prayer and Bible first, right? And we're teaching our kids to do that, and who we can pray for, and opportunities to pray for, like missionaries or policemen. And so they're seeing that. But also whenever we fail, or we're someone yells or we get upset, we're like, my kids say, can we start this day over, please? And we stop and we pray. And I love how that they've took initiative to start that.
Good. Well, because they see it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because they see it, and
More
so
is taught than taught.
exactly.
Yeah. And then there's times where maybe I'm feeling overwhelmed. And one of my favorite things to do is to grab a cup of coffee, and I tell the kids, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I go outside and I walk. It doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing or something. I am out walking around the pond or just around. And I'm praying. I call a friend. We pray. We talk. Everybody, talks through what issue we're having. And then we just pray that, the day's going to get better, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to do this, and this is the right thing for
Right.
us.
Yeah.
And everybody comes back with a renewed spirit. The kids are in there probably causing a ruckus, who knows, but I have my 10 minutes when I need it to go walk around, have a moment, come back feeling renewed and saying, okay, we got this.
Yes.
Right on. Yeah, well, I think so. It occurred to me, like, a lot of the objection to the public school or just a certain private school is, we've for generations now we've ruled God out. Whether it through science or hey, we're just not going to subscribe to a certain kind of thinking.
Yes.
We've ruled God out, and so the success is not just to pull the kids out of that environment, but to pull God back in. Right.
Yes.
So, so do you take time to? I'm not going to say there's a wrong or right answer here. Is there Bible teaching as part of the curriculum for you guys?
course,
It is?
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Of course.
So, is that something that we do, that we're kind of winging it on, or is that something that there's a curriculum we get with that as well with the programs you happen to use?
Sure.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year we found a really awesome curriculum from BJU Press, and it was a video series, and they're Bible lessons. There's, I think, 180 Bible lessons on each video, and the kids will have a workbook, and the video, they put it on the TV and they follow the video, and it's a whole Bible lesson and a workbook activity. And sometimes, for the older kids, it's a reading and then answering these questions. And it was really in depth and really good, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. It got a little costly for us. So this year we've changed it up a little bit. And so we do devotions. And so the boys do a devotional together that includes Bible reading. And then I do one with the girls. And we read that one out loud, and we talk about it, and we have a discussion afterwards. And so that's really working for us really well right now.
Awesome.
Cool. I like to have them think in a timeline of history for Bible, because
Okay.
a Bible is a part of history.
Amen.
We just did this sermon series of evidence of God's creation. And really, when I grew up, it was, you just need to believe because it's the truth. And there was no evidence. And so that evidence of creation and the scientific proof really that I discovered on my own was what really solidified my faith and gave me confidence. And I want that for them. I want them to see that in history and in science, and that it's real. We went to the Ark Encounter this last year, and
Awesome.
and they have a huge timeline, and just seeing that and how maybe dinosaurs would tie in, or maybe this would go here or here based off of writings that were discovered and different scientists, and that was really cool for me. But we tie in Bible throughout the day.
Right.
But
because it touches more than one subject, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
science, history,
Yeah.
mathematics, right? So
Language arts.
It's really mixed
language
into
arts,
everything.
absolutely, right?
Because
So bad experience we had. We tried the private Christian school,
Okay.
which was really just probably more of a co-op with some people that we shouldn't have handed our kids off to. And as our daughter was struggling with math, the response from the principal was, "Well, you just don't like God because math is perfect and God created it," in some kind of weird correlation there. But basically, my daughter was a disappointment to God at that point. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
this is ridiculous, So, but yes, absolutely. Like he ties into all of those things, right? And so even, health class, right? He ties into all that. I think it's good that we don't just, again, pull our kids out of a bad situation if we find them in a bad situation,
Right.
but that we bring the best
for them.
The best for
Yeah.
them. And that means we incorporate God in the teaching, right? And
Absolutely.
prayer in our ability to teach, right? Because we know we're going to come up short some days, right? Whether we
Absolutely.
just wake up on the wrong side of the bed or we weren't strong in a subject, right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's one of the subjects that I feel like I struggle with, to be honest with you, because I did not grow up as a Christian.
Yeah.
And so I did not read the Bible until I was in my mid-20s. And my kids have gone to private Christian schools their whole lives until they were homeschooled. And so they knew more Bible than I did.
yeah.
And so there's times they're teaching me stuff and I'm sitting here going, this is awesome. Like, I love this. But I have a couple that are so strong in their faith that they can get up in front of a whole bunch of kids and they can teach
Yes.
the Bible. And so I really enjoy that because they're teaching me too, which has been a really cool thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about your low was pretty much year one, right? The
Yeah,
majority of
absolutely.
it. At what point in year one were you finally like, we've got this? Like we're turning the corner. I feel confident. Like this is the right thing. We made the right decision.
There was no point.
There was no
in year one. Let me tell you that right now. I every day was like, why did I do this? What is the matter with me?
Oh.
Okay, I had all the support there was, and I still was like, it's got to be me.
Okay, so why
It's
year
gotta
two?
be me.
Why bother with year two?
Because I was determined that this is what we were going to do.
Okay.
I said, no more. We never wanted to do public schooling. Our experience with private school was fantastic in the elementary years. And in the older years, one of my favorite sayings is that private school is public school with a better curriculum.
Okay. Understood.
We just could not get past that. And I said, I just can't do this. I have to do this. I have to push myself.
Yeah.
I have to do this. This is for my kids who mean the world to me. So we're going to do this.
Yeah,
Whether
stepping
we're
up.
all miserable or not, we're going to do this. And somehow, just this summer, it just clicked for all of us.
Oh.
There was just something that just said, like, they're getting this. I'm not miserable. Like, we're finding a rhythm. And I think that's a hard thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Because my boys are very independent. And I love that because I can give them assignments to do for the day and they go do it. And if they have questions, they come to me. But with my girls, obviously, they're younger. So I need to teach everything. But my boys are like, no, I got this.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. But like, I was trying to teach them everything the first year and they were just like, I can do this on my own. Why are you doing this? I'm like, I thought I was supposed to teach you.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they know how to read, right? It's
Right.
yeah.
Like,
I feel like
saves so much time and energy to have them just do that. And then come to me when you have a question, right? But they have to be obviously at an independent age.
Yeah.
Why do I need to read it to you? You can read just fine. And they really enjoy that. They're just like, hey, I'm going to go outside and do my reading. I'm like, fantastic. See you in a little while.
Yeah.
Like, check in with me. Make sure you're alive and that you're getting your
Awesome.
things done.
Awesome.
But yeah, somehow it just clicked. And we only took a break for 3 weeks during the summer. We just kept going.
Yeah.
It started up again because it was too hot.
yes, we did that too.
We were like,
hot
it's
to
too
go
hot to go
outside."
outside. We'll do
And
school, and then
Everybody's at the vacation spots anyway.
Yeah.
We'll
right.
go.
All the
we'll go
all the kids
vacation in
are out
September.
at the parks. The parks aren't fun right now.
Yeah.
We gotta wait till they go back to school.
Right. So, and that was one of the notes you had, right? Is that
Yeah.
there's a unique advantage
Yes.
to operating on your own schedule, and that's you don't find yourself where everybody else is all the time, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
like all the military families can relate to, when everybody gets paid on the same day, don't go to the
Yes.
grocery store,
Don't
right?
go to the grocery store.
Same thing when it comes to vacation spots or any other thing.
The
So,
grocery store is an awesome teaching place. My kids I've given them $20. I'm like, you have to buy groceries. You have to buy, and how much
Yeah.
can you give to the cashier? But we do that in the mornings when nobody's there.
there you go. Yeah. So that's good. So not just vacation, but practical other
Practical
things we need to
things,
do,
yeah.
right? So
Sure.
finding ourselves on a slightly different schedule lends itself to time
Yes.
saving, less stress.
Yes.
So
we get up
Do
and
things that
school
work for you.
when we want to,
Yeah.
right? Like we don't have a timeline
What
of when
works for
to
you?
start. My kids know that they have some chores to take care of first thing in the morning. That's required because they're animals. They have to stay alive, right? Like you have your job, you have yours. And so everybody kind of has an animal to take care of. And so they have to be up at a certain time. But other than that, like eat your breakfast, take your time. We'll slowly transition through the day. And eventually we'll get started, but we're not in a rush.
Yeah.
Why?
I feel like once you commit something to the Lord, I think I was reading in Proverbs, it says, once you commit a plan to the Lord will direct your path, right? And so that means giving up the fear, giving up that anxiety of, I need to be perfect, or I need to make sure I'm doing everything right in the way, and comparing yourself to others.
Oh my gosh.
Once we just hand that to God, I feel like there is a peace that you just don't get otherwise.
right. So do you have a worst case, like never want to experience it again through homeschooling event you've experienced too, or no?
I wouldn't say necessarily event, but I overthink things, and I'm afraid of confrontation. but like whenever you give that to the Lord, He gives you this power, and it's like not me. But at the beginning, I researched the mess of every homeschool style possible and tried every homeschool style possible, and it was so expensive until I'm like, okay, it's fine. God, you're going to take care of this. And I'm going to relax because I will lose my mind. And that was really, once I gave it to the Lord and surrendered, that was when it was okay for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So last big question is, what is the greatest benefit you've seen? Is it the quality of education? Is it the bond with the children? Is it the bond between the children? Is it something
Yes.
else?
No, you get your family life. There's so much time that you don't get whenever you send your kids somewhere for the half of the day. They're being trained by somebody else. And then they can counteract what you have said to them, and you have teach them what you have taught them with what somebody else has taught them. You get that when you're the parent.
There's a consistency in learning, worldview, values, all these things, right?
And you can have a family again, and like that time together that you just are going to miss out. And sharing life experiences and doing things gently.
Yeah, as slow as every day goes by, they grow up really fast, right?
Yes.
They do.
So yeah, my baby is 18, so I get it, and we say it all the time, right? But in the moment, we can,
Yes.
in the stressful moments, we can lose sight of how fast they're growing up and how
Yes.
long they won't be there.
What does they say? The days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah, exactly.
I completely agree with Becca. Just the family just coming together and being one again and teaching your kids, like just teaching them, right? Like somebody else isn't doing it. It's you. And so they're getting everything you know. But I also think one of the most amazing things I've seen was the transformation in my oldest because he had been bullied since 4th grade. So 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade is when I said, that is enough. Now, I wasn't, again, in there all the time, right? And every teacher was different. And there were teachers bullying, too. It wasn't just students. And, you know, when the principal just says, well, this is just the age where they're just not nice to each other. And I said, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, nothing. This is just what they do to each other. I'm sorry, what? That's not okay. When you have a child whose mental health has declined so poorly that they don't think they belong on this earth anymore. And he wasn't the only one that was going through that. There was another child that we...
well, there's so many kids going
right,
through
and there's
that.
so many kids. But watching him go from this broken kid who just didn't want to be alive, right? He didn't want to be around his family. He didn't want to make friends. He thought everybody was just out to get him. To watch him transform into the kid you've seen now, the young man he's seen now. I mean, he
walks with confidence.
He does.
He holds his head high.
He's almost 16, and he volunteers at church. It's one of his favorite things to do. He looks forward to it every week. He's on this path, on this Trail Life program to get the highest award that they have, and that is his goal. He has plans for the future now. He has a couple of really amazing friends, and now he knows what to look for in friendships. He can be around people. He smiles. He laughs. And I didn't see that kid for a long time. And that has been, besides the family coming together, one of the biggest things that I have my child back. Like, I have my son back, right? He's happy and he's healthy and he's thriving.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And it's amazing.
And that's just a small piece of testimony about it, right?
And in such a short time, too. Because he started changing within 6 months of us homeschooling, and he was like, this is cool, right? Like, there's nobody picking on me, Mom. There's nobody bossing me around and blaming me for their bad days. And
and whenever he grows up and goes into the world, he will know what to look for, and he will know good character and be able to discern it and pick his friends wisely.
Exactly. And he's done that now, and he has a couple of amazing friends who... they're both homeschoolers too, and they're just amazing, and it's amazing seeing him choose those
360,
friends,
right?
And this 360 of who he has become, right? And he's becoming a young man.
It's so cool,
and it's just been really cool to see, and it makes
extremely
me sad
rewarding.
At this. Yeah, it really is.
All the days that were struggles, right?
Yeah.
All the reward is there.
It's 100. If anything else, it's worth it for those things to see.
And so you do agree, like, you're seeing different family unity since making this choice in you as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably something so many families with multiple children probably struggle with, right? Because they're all sick. They're all living their own life for 6 to 8 hours a day with their own friends.
And they come home and do homework until it's dinner time, and then they
go
go to
to
bed.
activity, and then they go to this activity, and they're shuttling back and forth. We did that for a long time. And it was exhausting. And I felt like I didn't know my kids. I was just running them here, running them there, picking them up again. Like, it was a constant thing.
Yeah. You get time.
Now we get time to actually be around each other and get to know each other. And
it's cool. It's really
very cool.
Awesome. Ladies, I want to thank you for, one, what you chose to do with your families, and that you stuck with it even through the challenges, and that you came forward to share testimony and encouragement for others. And I thank you for leading this ministry and being there for those families. And I just want to tell everybody watching right now, you could trust these ladies. They can give you wise guidance and counsel, having done this for a few years. And it won't just be clinical. They will be your support. They will point you to others for support, and there will be true fellowship in this ministry for you and your children. So thank you, ladies, and hopefully we'll have you back sometime to do this.
Awesome.
All right. See you guys later. Hey, thanks for joining us, guys. Hopefully this was really helpful and exciting for you. And if you got any questions, please leave them in the comments. Please like and share with anybody you know is interested in homeschooling their kids. Take care.